Hi, I making another video. After making the first two, it just seems to be coming back. Everything that I've dreamt and seen as I was awake. One of the first ones I want to say is it was probably maybe 4 years ago, and this one was a dream. And again, it was before I was baptized and accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I In my dream I was like on a cloud or in the clouds, and I was talking with a man, and the voice that I hear in my dreams of him is feels like a grandfather to me, or even a father. And so in my dream I'm talking to him, and he's telling me some personal things, and I ask him why I feel so like sad in my life and stuff, and he begins to explain everything to me. Some stuff I don't know or I don't remember is because I believe that those what he said to me will come at a certain time. So he said he was telling me that I could fly, and he says come, and he shows me his hand. See, I don't see his form. It's like he's a cloud or talking in the cloud, and he puts his hand out, and I'm like a child. I feel the way I felt as a child, and I step onto his hand, and he tells me, he says, I'm going to lift you up in my hand, and I want you to like jump off and fly. And I said, I can't do that. I can't fly. And he laughed, and he told me, you can fly. And he said, you have to remember. And so I'm telling him, I'm scared. I'm scared. He said, don't be afraid. He says, and so I trust in him, and I jump off his hand, and I begin to soar in the sky. And it's almost like my eyes are closed when I'm soaring, and he's there, like telling me that I'm doing good and things like that. And then I open my eyes and I start falling, and I tell him, I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna hit, I'm gonna hit the ground. And as soon as I'm falling, and as soon as I get close to the ground, his hand comes and catches me, and he says, let's try again. And I said, no, I'm scared. And he says again, he tells me, don't be afraid, I will catch you. And so we do it again, and again I'm soaring, and maybe a little bit longer than the first time. And I open my eyes and I start falling again. And so as I'm falling, right before I hit the ground, his hand is big, like huge. I can, like, when I stood on the tip of his finger, and it was only one finger, and his hand was big, and it was like golden, the color of gold, maybe like the sun at times. And he catches me, and I'm crying. I'm almost crying, and I'm telling him I don't want to do it again. And I said, I just want to, stay with you. And he said, no, you have to do it again. He said, you have to keep trying. You have to keep doing it. And so I do it again, and I feel light, and full of peace, and I'm just trusting in who I believe is my father or my grandfather. And again, I start falling and I'm yelling for him, but I don't remember what I'm calling him. And his hand comes again, and I land on his hand. And he says, "Why are you afraid?" And I said, "Because I don't want to hit the ground and die." And he told me you're not going to die. He said, "Just trust in me. I'm not going to let you fall." And he said, "And every time you do fall, I will be there to catch you." And I felt like just surrounded in love, like drowning in love in a good way. And then I wake up. So there's been numerous dreams that I have of things like that. But another one that I want to talk about happened a little over a year ago. It was after I was baptized. Probably like 8 months after I was baptized. But I'm in my dream, I'm walking, and I'm walking along this road, and then on the I see I'm coming up on like what looks to me as a prison or a jail. And I'm like, I have to go in there. And I started feeling bad, like I need to go and put myself in there. And so I start going in, and there's a woman there, and she's telling me, or she looks at me and she says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, I felt that I needed to come here. I feel like I'm meant to be here." And she just said, she looks at this, what looks like a clipboard, and she says, "Your name's not here." And I said, "But I think I'm supposed to be here." And she just smiles and she says, "Okay." And I see beyond a window, and outside of that window, there's people that are in, like, I want to say like dirty clothes, kind of, and they're all walking in a line. Um, it looks like prisoners to me. Some of them were people I knew. And so she tells me, she says, "Here's your clothes." And she said, "Could you go change them?" And I said, "Yes." So I take the clothes, and as I change into them, I'm wearing a white dress. And it's a really long dress, long sleeves. It's really pretty. And I'm wondering, like, why am I wearing a white dress and the rest of the prisoners are wearing those dirty clothes? And so I come back out of changing, and she smiles at me, and I don't think anything of it, and then I start asking her why I changed into that. And she just smiles and she says, "Here, take this." And she gives me this basket, and it's a big basket. And she tells me that there's a bench outside, or a chair. It's like a bench. And she says, "Go out there and take the weeds. Can you take the weeds and pull them up and put them in the basket, just the weeds?" And I said, she said, "Be careful that you're only pulling the weeds." And I said, "Okay." So I go outside and I see the bench, and I go and start pulling the weeds, and I'm sitting on the ground, and I'm around this bench, and I'm pulling the weeds up and putting them in the basket. And after a time, I'm finished and I don't see any more weeds, so I take it inside. And as I walk in to see her, like, I'm going in and out of the door, like nobody's letting me in, nobody's letting me out. The door is just open for me. And I ask her, I said, "What do you need these for?" And she said, "They're for him." And I was like, "Oh." and I was like, who is him? And so she turns around and she has the basket. And then when she looks at me and she says, I'm going to take these to him and I will be right back. And then she shows me the basket and they're roses. Like, I don't know, it's a basket of roses. They're so pretty. And I'm thinking, those weren't roses when I picked them, pulled them up. Those were weeds. And she said, I'm going to take these to him and I will be right back. So she tells me to wait there. So I'm sitting there waiting for her and I'm looking around. And then I see this door, because there's rooms there, different rooms that have, the doors are open. I look and I see like this beautiful sky and sun. And I'm like, oh, that's so pretty over there. I'm like, what is that? And so I'm just looking, like enjoying what I'm seeing. And then I see, or I hear like this rustle, like kind of like something rustling to the right side of that door. And so I was curious. I was wanted to see what that was. So I start walking towards that sound that I'm hearing. And I slowly look and there's a lamb and it's white and it's a young lamb. It was little. And I look at it and its eyes were I kind of want to say one was blue and one was like fire. They may have both been blue, but something about fire in one eye. And I'm like, oh, it's a lamb. And then I look down at, and it's walking on it's in a haystack, like hay. It's on a haystack, and it's looking at me, and I want it to come to me. So I put my hands out and I'm like, come here. I wanted to touch it. And I just felt so much love for that lamb. Like, oh, it's a baby lamb, and I look down at its feet and its feet are like flames of fire. Or its feet, it's like its hooves, but it doesn't have feet. Like it's flames of fire, like it's standing on fire. And I'm like, wow, like what is that? And I'm still telling the lamb to come to me and it's looking at me and it starts walking towards me, that lamb. And so I put my hands out and right as it's getting close to me, she comes back in and she says, come with me. He wants to see you. And I said, what? And she said, he's ready to see you now. And I was like, who? And I feel this fear, like, I don't know. It was like some sort of fear. And I said, I'm scared to see him. I was like, what are we going to do? And she said, I will take you to him. And I said, I don't know what to say to him. I was like, I don't know why he wants to see me. And she said, just come, and we go through these big, big gates, doors. She opens them and we're walking through this. It's not a tunnel, it's like a hallway. And we're walking and I look at her and but I don't remember what she looks like. But I look up at her and she's big, like tall. And I was like, oh, those are there's gates, why the doors are so big, because she's so tall. And as we're walking, she grabs my hand and we start holding hands and she says, I said, I'm afraid. I said, I don't know where you're taking me and I don't know him. And she begins to say, it's okay. He's waiting for you. And so as we're walking, I say, I'm afraid. And I stopped and I looked up at her and I said, I'm so scared. And she said, do not fear, for he is with you. And I was like, who is with me? And she just kind of giggles and she says, And then we're walking and I said, but I'm really scared. And she said, do not fear, he is with you. And I'm just wondering, like, why is she saying this to me? And so we continue walking and we get to like this It's like a dark, I want to say it's like a stadium, and it has stairs, and I'm walking down those stairs, and then she says, I'm stopping here. And she said, you go, he is waiting for you. She said, go to the other doors. And I was still afraid, and I said, don't leave me. And she's just smiling and kind of laughing, and she says, you can go, you're okay. And so I started walking, and I go to those doors, and those doors aren't open. They're like big gates, and it's dark in there. And so I'm standing there, and I hear other people. Well, these other people are excited, like happy, and they're all talking. And there was this one lady, and she said, are you ready? And I was like, I don't know. And I said, I don't know, ready for what? And she said, he's waiting. She said, he's waiting for us. He's been waiting for us. And so I just don't know what's going on. And these doors open. And as they open, it's like a world, like a whole, but it's so bright, and the colors are so beautiful. Like there's nowhere on earth now that had those colors. And I'm just like, what is going on in there? And she says, oh, we're gonna go in. She says, we're going to see him. He's waiting for us. She said, we have to sing. She said, we must sing. And I said, I don't know how to sing. And she said, you know how to sing. And she said, we all know the song. And I didn't understand. And I was like, okay, you know. And we all begin to start walking, and there's people going ahead, and yet I'm still scared. And then I hear them, and as soon as they walk into the, like, through the threshold, they're praising and singing and so many different languages, and I'm just amazed. And I'm like, I'm gonna go in. So I start getting excited. I'm like, this must be a good place. So I start walking in, and then I see this bright golden light or sun. It's like the sun maybe. And then I wake up from my dream. And so those are two dreams that, as with my other dreams, I've seen the old man. And I neglected to say in my last video that his hair was like lightning, like rays of lightning underneath his hair or in his hair. He was like a grandfather, a holy man. I know he is holy. And I'm not sure what those dreams are, but I kind of have an idea. But as I said before, I haven't shared my dreams before. But I have a few more that I've experienced, and they're just coming as I'm making these videos. I'm being reminded of these dreams that I've had my whole life. So I just wanted to share that, and thank you for all the videos that I've seen that inspired me to share mine as well. God bless you.